Now at 11, metro counties prepare for reopening while giving us a better idea of when that may happen. Plus, the coronavirus outbreak at a seafood plant on the coast grows. And the virus claims the life of famed entertainer Roy Horn of Siegfried and Roy.
This is KGW News at 11.
Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Laurel Porter. Tonight we're learning more about when Portland area counties may apply to start reopening after Governor Brown laid out her plan yesterday. But patience will be key, as phase 1 of reopening may still be a month or more away. Pat Doris takes us through the timeline.
Now that the governor has laid out the metrics that need to be met before a county can apply to reopen, the pressure is on. Rural counties with smaller populations likely applied to take the first step today and will be granted permission next Friday. But the biggest counties, not even close to applying. Here's Dr. Jennifer Vines, the health officer for Multnomah County.
Minimum 3 weeks, probably more like a minimum of 4 weeks, realistically. And we don't know what's going to happen between now and then. Again, a month in this pandemic, things can change dramatically.
Why does it take so long? Well, turns out there's a bunch of work to do, according to Dr. Vines. The governor set out 7 metrics each county must hit before even applying. The first 2 involve a falling in the numbers of people with COVID-19. The metrics are fewer people with flu-like symptoms showing up at the emergency room in that area and a 14-day decline in hospital admissions for folks with COVID-19. But even that part is confusing.
I think we'll be looking for a bit more detail from the state on what constitutes a decline. And if there are some bumps over 14 days, does that count? Does the clock restart anytime there's a plateau? So I think there are a lot of details yet to be worked out.
Then there is testing. The region must have 30 tests available per 100,000 people.
Testing supplies that you need in a clinic, testing supplies that you need in a lab, and then people to do the test, plus personal protective equipment for those people. We have struggled to bring those things together in a way that makes testing readily available to the community.
The governor's plan also requires frequent testing of workers in meatpacking plants and agriculture producing operations. But it doesn't seem to say whether the government or the company is responsible for the testing or the costs. Then there are the tracers, the people who call known positive cases and get the names of everyone they were in contact with. Under the governor's plan, Multnomah County will need about 120, many more than we have now.
The rest of the plans, though, to scale up further are for now on paper. And so this is going to be a big lift. We also need to make sure that these contact tracers speak different languages, are from different communities. Excuse me, again, because trust is really a key component of the contact tracing.
And then there's the 20% hospital surge capacity. That's easy to meet right now because the hospitals were emptied out to make room for the pandemic. But what if they fill up again? And then there's the PPE. Again, the hospitals are fine for now, but what if there's another problem with the supply chain? And counties need to have places to go where they can put COVID-19 patients who cannot quarantine themselves at home. Multnomah County does have several ideas on that, but it's one more series of details that need to be worked out, and it's why health leaders say it could take a month before Oregon's most populated county is ready to even apply for phase 1 reopening.
I don't know, you guys, another month without a haircut, you're not going to be able to see my eyes pretty soon. That was Pat Doris reporting. We also talked with Washington County health officials about their plans for moving into phase 1. And they say that will likely happen in early to mid-June. They're close to meeting necessary health measures, but the hurdle for them as well is getting enough contact tracers.
Well, of course, we, like everyone, would like to move into phase 1 as soon as possible. But we are monitoring our data and working really fast and furious to hire those case contact tracers.
The county plans to recruit and train about 100 people for contact tracing, essentially doubling the Health and Human Service Department's workforce. There are plenty of questions right now regarding retail stores and the reopening process for them. Kristen Severance has answers to some of the most common questions.
I think a lot of us thought that all stores would be opening up May 15th, but that's just not the case. So our first question is, what stores can reopen May 15th of 2020? So the answer under the governor's plan: standalone furniture stores, art galleries, jewelry shops, and boutiques can all open up. So the next question, what guidelines must those stores follow? All right, so customers and employees will have to maintain 6 feet of distance from each other. Employees will have to post signs about COVID-19 symptoms, and if customers have those symptoms, they should not enter the store. Employees will also have to frequently clean areas, and employees must wear masks. So our next question we've been getting: when can malls or shopping centers reopen? So the answer here: those places can open when their counties are approved to reopen by the governor's office. So I reached out to some, indoor and outdoor malls in the area: Bridgeport Village, Washington Square, the Woodburn Outlet. So Bridgeport Village, they were the only ones to get back to us with some details. Their general manager, Chad Hastings, said, we cannot confirm our opening until Washington County is approved by the state to reopen. And when Bridgeport Village does reopen, it will most likely be a gradual process, like turning a dial, not flipping a light switch, meaning not all stores will reopen at once. Each store will have to follow the specific state and county mandates to meet the safety criteria before the opening. And I think this will be true with a lot of the malls and outdoor shopping centers opening. So those counties can start applying to reopen Friday, today, and we'll keep you posted on all of the details and all of the openings. Back to you.
In an update tonight, the Daily Astorian reports 12 more workers at a seafood plant in Astoria have tested positive for the virus. There are now 26 total cases at the Bornstein Seafood Processing Facility. The plant is closed and workers are sheltering at home in the meantime. Famed magician Roy Horn of Siegfried and Roy has died from coronavirus complications. He tested positive last month and was being treated at a Las Vegas hospital. Roy Horn and Siegfried Fischbacher put on shows for decades and were often known for working with big cats. Horn was 75 years old. We've heard a lot about how businesses are struggling right now, and there are a lot of them, but there are some that are thriving, like Colette Bakery and Bistro in the historic Lebanon Hotel in downtown Lebanon. Owner Chelly Bufarasha says she originally planned to open April 15th. The pandemic, though, complicated that. But she decided to just go for it anyway and launched with a to-go business model. She says she just wanted to share her love of French pastries with her town, and it looks like her decision paid off. Word spread quickly that she was open.
I just thought it's time. We definitely need to have a bakery, and it has to be a French bakery. I thought people would buy 1 or 2 pastries when they'd come in, but in reality, they'll generally buy boxes of pastries.
Chelly says her business has been profitable so far, and she's been able to hire a few employees, too. Good for her. New tonight, a Vancouver couple is giving their neighbors something to focus on besides this pandemic. Mike Benner shows us they're doing this by playing dress up.
Karin and Daniel Spansky-Dreffen are dressing up a mannequin. You heard me right, a mannequin. And let me tell you, this mannequin has a lot of followers, hundreds of them on Facebook and Instagram. This mannequin is bringing so much joy to so many people when we need it most. There's a new face in the Vancouver Heights neighborhood. He goes by the name Manny, although on this day he looks a lot like Ariel from The Little Mermaid.
Every day he's out here with a new outfit and people are relying on that.
Karin Spansky-Dreffen.
Here comes Dan.
And her husband Daniel are the brains behind Manny the Mannequin.
Yes.
He stands outside the couple's home at the intersection of Southeast 98th Avenue and Southeast 10th Street in Vancouver. He's been here since the start of the pandemic.
As everybody was doing the put bears in the window so people could walk around the neighborhood and see the teddy bears in the window, which we can't do because our windows are tinted and far back from the road.
A light bulb went off in Daniel's head. Karin's too. Dust off the old mannequin and dress it up.
So many people stopped to take selfies or laugh that we were like, oh, it's kind of funny. Maybe we'll do it again tomorrow.
They did. And the next day, and the next day, and they're still doing it. and it's a hit.
I think it's pretty cool. I mean, it brings me this way for a route about 2 or 3 times a week.
It's really fun. We made new socially distant friends. There's one lady who comes every morning with her big camera. Her name's Rebecca, and takes a photo.
While we're on the topic of photogenic mannequins, it's worth mentioning in this age of social distancing, this interview was done by Mike Benner.
What do you think of
the
that?
mannequin?
Pretty good.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous of his posable arms, to be honest, because this guy's pretty
rigid.
And rigid just so happens to describe Manny the Mannequin's routine. No later than 8 o'clock every night, Manny gets a new wardrobe.
Carl and I just drag it in, go out to the garage, and spend an hour or so every night just kind of figuring out what, if we don't plan what the next one is already, what it's going to be, and get them all ready so he can be wheeled out the next morning.
And he's never disappointed. Just check out some of the outfits. Impressive, aren't they? And the threads are not to be outdone by the messages that go along with them.
And just try and tie it all together and bring a moment of inspiration.
Some will argue there's no better time for that than now. At a time when the world has been turned upside down, there's always Manny the Mannequin.
It's really cool. It just creates connection when right now everyone feels really isolated and disconnected, yeah.
Karin and Daniel tell me that Manny the Mannequin will actually be involved in a gender reveal this weekend for an expecting couple down the street. How cool is that? As far as how long they'll be able to continue dressing up Manny, they say they have about 20 more costumes and ideas. After that, it's anybody's guess. I'm Mike Benner for KGW News.
Oh, I think Manny the Mannequin has some competition now from Mike Benner the Mannequin. Some countries know them as revered beasts of burden. Well, could they carry the burden of beating coronavirus for us? Why llamas may hold a secret to stopping the virus. Plus, with all the nice weather ahead, we'll check out which outdoor areas are open and the restrictions to keep in mind.
And Laura, we saw temperatures in the low 80s earlier this afternoon. Tomorrow, it's going to be just a little bit warmer. I'll talk more about the little taste of summer we're going to be seeing for the weekend coming up in just a few minutes.